taking it from people not even convicted of crimes, accused of crimes.
Okay, insane.
Hey guys, I want to pivot. I want to pivot real quick to a poll, and then after the poll, we're going to switch topics because we're getting we've got some topics that we still need to get to. So if everybody said what they need to say, we're going to have a poll. Chat, vote to keep, not kick.
All I'm saying is, people who want to abolish the police, or you're stupid. If you want to defund the police,
now you understand. You understand that's just going to lead them to respond, and then we're not going to move on from the topic.
Look, getting caught up in the optics is exactly how. This was the point I wanted to make earlier, but it got steamrolled a little bit. Getting caught up in the optics is exactly why so many people originally criticized Black Lives Matter as well. You look at a cause, you see if it's on the side of justice, you make up your own mind about it. I think that like optics policing or tone policing in this circumstance is not helpful if you understand exactly what the intentions are. And most of the marginal cases that like truly want to abolish the police, whether it's because of some ideological reason or because they're anarchists or whatever, still are at the forefront of police justice, still are at the forefront of criminal justice reform. So even they themselves understand that the time is not exactly now to abolish the police.
Keep, not kick. Keep, not kick.
I think optics are more important than perhaps Hassan might, but I think his point is generally true that shouldn't be the first retreat, the first consideration. The cause ultimately matters more. It's like when the Black Lives Matter, two of the founders said some years ago, we are Marxists, trained Marxists, and everybody wanted to focus on that instead of the actual issues of at hand.
Keep, not kick.
It's not illegal to be Marxist.
Great points, by the way, Bastien, dude. I'm really glad you brought a massive forfeiture and all that. I think
I'm glad we're on the same side. I appreciate that.
I absolutely think that's bullshit. Like, we can all have these. We can all agree on this, right?
What I was gonna say during that debate is that this is all nice and wonderful, and Richard and Bastien's points are great. And the thing is most people can agree on those issues, but that's not what's going on in our country right now. That's not what the debate is. If you want to have nuanced debates about police reform, which is a local issue, that's something that you can probably get a lot of agreement on, but that is not what's going on in our country. You've got the radical left that hates police, that literally is defunding them. You've got Joe Biden who's agreed with transferring funding away from the police, which is the definition of defunding them. And so that's great that you guys can have a nice little debate about civil asset forfeiture and other like police reform issues, but that's really not what the debate is going on. The debate is defunding and abolishing the police, which is the radical, insane left.
I don't even like Joe Biden, but I'm gonna sit here and defend him again. But Joe Biden's actual policing reform proposal literally includes adding additional funds to the current police force exclusively for training and body cameras.
I can show you the video clip where he says I can show you the video clip where he says I want to transfer the money.
Whatever comes to mind now, we're just lying. Like
no.
You've never seen the video clip then.
I think Lecture Fan is referring to, he did do an interview, but what you have to remember is what Joe Biden says, let's be real, he doesn't know what he's saying half the time, right? That's just facts. So what is important, more than what comes tumbling out of his mouth, because he's not very well, is the policies he puts down on paper, written by grown-ups. So Hassan wins this one. Forget what he said. Like, if we were to go on everything that Donald Trump has said and what Donald Trump does, you can't do this game. Politicians, even when they don't have dementia, talk shit. So it's about what they put on paper, and Biden is actually going to increase funding. That's what he's pledged to do for training purposes. That's
Bernie Sanders probably spent a lot of time arguing with the far left committee. They're not all far left, but some lefty committees that he formed to try and get unity.
Okay, guys, the vote is in. The vote is in. And the winner is Hassan. Congratulations, Hassan. You must make a very difficult decision. It's something we've been trying to avoid for this entire show. You must decide who to choose to eliminate. Lecture Fan or Suspect Sushi. One of them has to go.
Fuck. All right. Make your cases on who's going to be a bigger, awful conservative. Who's going to be...
try to get you guys have to look. You guys are seemingly on the same side, but now it's to advocate to stay longer. Who is the better conservative?
I'll just say this: if Hassan chooses me, it's obviously because he's scared.
Dude, I'm fucking indifferent. Like, listen, like, not even 3 weeks ago. Not only I wasn't an affiliate, and I was a one viewer Andy. This has like been one of the biggest opportunities for me, and I've gotten considerably farther than I thought I would. I was blessed to be able to bump elbows with everybody here.
Because we switched to a mail-in
I would,
voting
in fact, like to
system.
yell at it's on, especially
That's
as a
really
American separatist.
Suspect Sushi. Here, I will help you out as best as I can here. Okay. The proper way to
I think
answer this
that's,
question is to be like, you're a goddamn red Stalinist,
No.
anarcho-Marxist cuck, and like scream from the top of your lungs, and then even say that Lecture Fan is like a fake libertarian, and that's
Nah, dude, I still have my scruples about me, my man. I'm not gonna fucking eat. The conservatives shouldn't eat their own, man.
Well
That's
played.
That's not what's gonna happen.
Wow.
okay. Well, all right. I
If
think
I'm gone, I'm gone. It's whatever.
I think the
Seen a lot of
it's
sushi.
clear in this circumstance, but yeah.
Seen a lot of sushi.
This really sucks, especially because I very clearly do not want either of you to get eliminated. I think I've made that very clear. Go so far as to even maybe engage in some election rigging to ensure that you had a lifeline.
It's definitely a good thing.
No, we're very unpopular. It's understandable.
Sushi, if you are genuinely imagining you're going down, you gotta go down spitting some fire, man. Can't just say if it happens, it happens.
I get an outro, right? What if I'm just being
This
nice
guy is
now?
the
Yeah, but
biggest
then I can't
political
retaliate
streamer on
here.
Twitch here,
Exactly, which would give you
incentive.
incentive to like reach out to me and then have a debate at a later date. Dude, I'm making plans here. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm a react Andy when I'm not on the show, so you know. Yeah, I don't know.
If you want to get rid of that narrative, you fucking invite, smaller.
No, I don't want to get rid of that. I love that narrative. It's my favorite narrative. Okay, yeah, I think for the time being, I guess Lecture Fan stays. Okay, I'm sorry, Suspect Sushi.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Thank you, Suspect Sushi. Unfortunately, it has come the time for you to shout out your channel as you have been eliminated from the Royale podcast presented by Dream, !Dream in the chat, sponsor of today's show. Suspect Sushi, go ahead and shout out your channel. Thank you.
If you want to watch all my absolutely terrible conservative takes that no one agrees with, you can find me at Suspect Sushi. I'll welcome you to the right side of history and teach you how policing really works. All right, and I'll also educate you on why everybody should vote Trump. And that's basically it. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
If you want to see me again, I'll be on a large round table called the Reverie Roundtable with a prime case. Other than that, everybody stay blessed, stay safe from COVID and all that stuff.
Thank you very much,
Good to
Suspect
have you,
Sushi.
man.
You have a
Yeah, you
wonderful
take
day.
care.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Thank you
Nice to
very
meet
much.
you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I know conservatives are truly oppressed on the platform. That's why I was doing my very best to keep them alive. You know.
So my question is: Have conservatives? God, Hassan, this is a question for. Never mind. You know what? Fuck it. I won't even say anything. All right, I gotta stay neutral. I gotta stay neutral. I gotta stay neutral. I said I just wanted to say maybe have conservatives really ever been on the right side of history?
They always have.
Oh, really?
Depends on what you mean by conservative. Like, depends on what you're talking about conserving. Like, for example, Lecture Fan, I think his interpretation of the Constitution is fallacious oftentimes. But the notion that the Constitution is a good thing that should be preserved and celebrated, yeah, I'm on board with that.
I mean, I don't know what they oppose: Social Security, Medicare.
Those are horrible things that are bankrupting the country.
Wait, you don't believe in Social Security or Medicare?
No, I think it should be. I think healthcare should be handled at the state level, and Social Security, I absolutely do not agree with.
Conservatives say about Social Security when it was rolled out in the 30s. They said this would be the beginning of the vast expansion of the federal state. While you may think that's a good thing, and in some cases I do, they were right about that. That is what happened. So now,
they're disasters of programs. They're horrible programs.
They're programs that keep our elderly citizens out of poverty, right? So I don't agree that they're horrible, but they are nevertheless a vast expansion of the federal government, which conservatives were right that would happen.
Okay,
they were right, but they didn't want it to happen so that old people had a safety net and didn't die immediately from
that's why conservatives actually take care of their family and donate to charity much more. So don't give me that moral bullshit.
Oh,
well, you can't rely on
because Usually because they're getting tax breaks that give them more money to be a little bit more charitable.
It depends on the kind of society you want.
Let's bankrupt the whole country and pretend like it's only because we care about old people.
Can they spare a little bit of a percentage point? I'm sorry. My heart aches for the billions of dollars that they're making. It just
military
aches.
For that matter.
I'm really trying to be charitable to the conservative viewpoint here. This idea that America was at one point a special country with a limited form of government, and that there's something worth defending there.
I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be neutral.
Fuck. Who cares?
I'm supposed to be neutral here. The host is not being neutral. It's against the rules. I really want to get Charlie in on something, even though he's been bringing up brilliant points this entire time.
I honestly feel bad because I've been interrupting so many people. So please, if you guys feel like I'm stepping on any toes,
I was going to say, Charlie, you've been really incredibly rude this entire time. Appreciate if you wouldn't interrupt anybody.
I wish we had more outside of America topics,
Yeah, well, look, America is... this pisses
not number one.
This makes me angry. I always get that. They're like, everybody comes on and you're like, why don't we get you know what? Let's bring up a Lithuanian topic or some, I don't know.
It'd be great, but none of the Americans could talk about it.
Exactly, because what I'm trying to say is
there actually is it's kind of a American, but it's kind of a Lithuanian topic. Everything Trump does with NATO. I mean, that basically the reason Russia doesn't try and forcibly reincorporate Lithuania.
The thing is, Ellie Moon, the reason why we cover mostly American topics is because Americans by nature, as Richard alluded to, don't really understand anything going outside in the world outside the scope of America, and Europeans and everybody else around the world tend to know much more about American politics than Americans know about anywhere else in the world.
Honestly, I think you should add another 100 votes, fake votes to us, Ellie Moon and me, because we're not American then, because it's kind of hard.
We've got 3 Europeans right now. And some Americans who are perfectly willing to talk about stuff they don't know about.
No, we're moving on to something different, and it's not political. I promise you. This is let's see here. Well, I want to talk about the. This is interesting because Hassan, you fit right into this. Okay, a little bit. There was a Leafy video that was made about Pokimane. There was a.
Oh God.
Leafy is here made a controversial video targeting Pokimane. It points hold on, this damn timer. It points to it's a video that it critiques her content, relying heavily on reactions. It goes on personal attacks. And my question to you is this goes into the react part of the critique. Do you guys have a problem with people that react to content on Twitch or people reacting to content on Twitch at all?
Me? Enjoy it and like it. I think that's quite genius, isn't it?
Okay, it works for a reason, and that's my most non-social, non-left take. Supply demand. Okay, that's what people want. And criticizing Pokimane over it is kind of ridiculous when 90% of the other Twitch streamers are doing the same thing. So it sort of seems like he's trying to assassinate her character when whatever he's describing is pretty much can be based on a lot of other stuff.
It honestly feels like Twitch is about the community. If you can watch stuff and enjoy and have fun with your community watching things, I don't really.
Hassan, didn't you bring up a good point about the fact that you have to sit there for 11 hours a day and then somebody can make a YouTube video?
I think Charlie can speak to this even better than I can. I've created content on YouTube for years before coming on to Twitch, and it's entirely different forms of content that you're creating. And I think it's very easy to either A, take you out of context when you're on Twitch because it's not as manicured as it would be on a YouTube video that you edited and posted. And B, it's very easy to just say oh, well, this dude is just not even reacting, when you can find 13 seconds from any point of a 12-hour broadcast where you are literally not reacting. So I've been literally the victim of this as far as the 9/11 take goes, as many of you are probably aware of. So it's silly. I think that it comes from a place of not really understanding how content is created on the platform, except for Leafy. He really can't argue that he didn't know how Twitch content is created because people found that he has a Twitch as well. And if I were to make a compilation of his really awful fucking boring
right?
Wait, who?
It's just him playing Fortnite while never really talking for extended periods of time. And last time I checked, I don't think he created Fortnite, and the same DMCA concept could very easily be applied to playing video games on stream as well. And has been actually. A company had hit PewDiePie with a DMCA for playing a video game on a live broadcast.
Yeah,
so,
but I mean,
I really want to hear Charlie talk about this. I know he's interrupting you quite a bit, but I don't know, Charlie, unless you don't have an opinion on it.
No, so like I do feel bad because I've just been blasting all your asses with so many of my opinions today, and I'm sorry to do it again. But I think this whole Twitch versus YouTube thing is really fucking garbage from almost everyone involved with their takes. It's like Hassan said, super different.
Yeah. So it's like apples and oranges.
Yeah, so like I saw yesterday, someone was talking about a 10-minute YouTube video that's no effort. I streamed for 9 hours. That's real effort. Well, streaming, let's be honest, everyone, it's pretty easy, right? It's not the most labor-intensive job in the world. It's not back-breaking shit. It's just having fun. Now, a YouTube video that's 10 minutes, that could take someone anywhere from 2 hours to 12 hours. During that time, they're making no money. During a 2 or 12-hour stream, a streamer's making money that entire time. And I think that's a perspective that's lost on a lot of streamers when it comes to time investment in Twitch versus YouTube. And overall, it's just not a really good take to shit on YouTubers about, you know, this is all manicured content, mine's a little more raw, because that doesn't really mean anything.
Oh, no, I wasn't shitting on YouTubers. I've created...
No, not you. I'm talking about the general perspective from what I've seen on, like, Reddit and shit recently.
I was saying that it's very easy to act like a person doesn't bring anything to the table or whatever.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
to be fair, it's not my... Like, Pokémon's content is not exactly... Like, I'm not the target demographic for it. I don't really watch Pokemon. But...
Aren't these people all upset about, like, streamers like Pokemon because it turns out they have boyfriends? Isn't that what it all comes down to?
First of all,
it seems like they just single out female streamers for this kind of stuff in a way that they don't really go after male streamers for it.
It's because it's easy to farm simps on the internet. Simp cells. That's what it is. It's very easy to attack someone like Pokemon.
Heartbreak in middle school. You know, it's easy to farm them. That's what I think.
It's not even necessarily about like people who are in love with her or whatever. It's more so about the reason why the motivation for a lot of people who make these crazy fucking videos to be like, oh, dude, react harder. Fuck you. You're not doing anything. The reason why they do that is because they get a lot of views. It's a really easy way to make a lot of money, get a lot of views, or at least, you know, maintain some relevance for yourself, especially if you got like bullied off the internet a couple years back. That's just what it is. And that's precisely why I think that dude Leafy, I'm not really familiar with his content, but he made like what 4 videos since then. It's pretty obvious that like he's just trying to milk it as much as he can until it's bone fucking dry.
Yeah, I mean, so just on the topic at hand about, you know, sort of reacting content, right? I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't watch Leafy's content because I'm not 12 and I have above 80 IQ. So I haven't watched it for a while. Let's put it that way. But I do seem to remember his content started out as him taking videos off YouTube, and then he would make a video of him reacting to the video on YouTube. And this blew up back when iDubbbz did the content cop on him, because one of the videos was him literally mocking a child that had autism. So I mean, to say reacting to content is like the lowest form of content creation. Well, I mean, I guess he's elevated his game since then, because now he's just surfing on a CS map talking shit. So good job, I guess. Specifically with the Pokemon stuff, one thing I will say about Pokemon, and I've never met her, I've never had a conversation with her. I do think she seems to be fallen into that trap that a lot of big streamers do, which includes Hassan. I'm sure he can identify this a little bit. That they get to this point where they stop separating valid criticism from personal attacks, and I've no.
You get shit on daily, Richard.
Yeah, no. I know that, but what starts happening is the valid critique starts to blend in with the unreasonable stuff, and you treat it all the same. I'm guilty of doing this. So I think what's happened with Pokemon, like you can tell, she's been a little bit frustrated lately. She's received a lot of, I think a lot of it's valid critique. If you're a content creator, your content's going to get critiqued. That's the nature of the beast. And she's clearly got pissed off with it, and she's clapped back at people like that it's a Gundam guy. right? And she should just never have reacted to that, like going after his sponsor on Twitter and stuff. So she created a bit of a rod for her back with that. The final point I'll say is I think don't criticize Leafy for making a garbage video, which is very transparent what he's trying to do. He's trying to ride on her coattails a little bit, you know, because that's the game essentially with like these drama YouTubers. But what actually sorry, you keep throwing me off when you're interrupting me. What I was going to say is Pokimane, he went on Twitter afterwards when she announced her month-long break, and basically a Twitter user said someone should kill Pokimane, and Leafy replied to it suggesting the method. That's way out of pocket. That's beyond bad behavior, and that's something that needs to be looked at.
Do you think that the platforms YouTube should take action against it?
Absolutely. I think if somebody says this individual should be killed, I mean, we know that's a violation of all the TOS. We know it's a crime to threaten somebody. If you're a content creator and you engage with that, you don't know if that person's a psycho or not. So I think Leafy's acting incredibly irresponsibly by encouraging that. And let's be real, Pokimane, yes, she's a big streamer, but we're all vulnerable in the same way. We're all people who go out in the real world.
And everybody who I think has a community is ultimately, I think, at least from my limited experience, maybe you bigger folks can vouch for this. It seems like your community ultimately, you set the tone. And so when you encourage or just let that stuff go, I mean, it just flourishes. Whereas if you stomp it out, then it doesn't happen. So I would be a little bit thankful for that. I mean, is that your experience, Hassan?
Yes, it's above and beyond also as far as like stalkers and as far as like horrible fucking psychos on the internet goes. Like, look, I have a lot of stalkers. I have been threatened, and I have also even in the past successfully been doxxed. I've had hacker attempts like to try to sim swipe me and, you know, leak all of my information or whatever. This is something that a lot of big content creators have to deal with on a daily basis, especially if you're a political content creator, then you get a lot more of that. But with Pokimane, I can tell you from personal experience that because she had appeared on my stream in the past and we were publicly friendly with one another, that I still have people that fucking stalk me. And even my normie friends who are not even involved with like the Twitch world, don't even know what the fuck Twitch is, that get DMs asking about like fucking foot pics or asking about like, you know, where is Pokimane? She's in the other side of the camera, right? And she hasn't even been on my stream in like a year and a half. So there is a significant like security problem here, and egging on people that want to kill her publicly in this circumstance is fucking completely batshit crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's beyond the pale. And just as another point, I didn't make. Sorry, Ellie, you should jump in.
So Ellie, I'm trying to get in.
Let Ellie go first.
Should say something. Come on, like seriously, are you guys crazy or what?
Yeah. The thing about Pokimane, like one thing that I keep hearing the circulating, valid criticism. She can't take valid criticism. I just don't see what's a valid criticism. The closest one I've gone to is she went for somebody's sponsor, but I completely justify her going after a sponsor because that sponsor sponsored somebody that purposely made something look like to make her look bad. It's a character assassination. It was. I know Gundam.
It wasn't even just her; it was her fans.
Stop talking over her. Stop talking over her, please. Hassan.
Thank you. I love you. As if I already didn't love you enough. But you see, like, what else? Like, just valid criticism is just the guise for bullying.
No, I disagree with that entirely. I mean, I think one person's character assassination, as you put it, is another person's, valid criticism of something that they've said. I mean, it's public accountability, essentially, and as personalities, we're all held to that same public standard.
So shouldn't people have said about Keemstar being sponsored by G Fuel that G Fuel was sponsoring a literal guy that incites like people that they have done.
But I saw that video in question that you're talking about, Ellie, and honestly, it's simply not that bad. She drew more attention to it. She fully Streisand affected that video by playing it on her stream because clearly she was craving some sort of positive response from her community who fully support her. She played it on her stream, making it blow up, and then it went a little bit further by intimating he shouldn't have a sponsor.
Hey, listen here, Ellie Moon and Richard. I don't want to. We're debating the topic. in its. I don't want to debate the nuances of the topic in particular. We're debating it broadly, and I think we're getting too into detail and debating things that are relevant.
No, what you're doing is Pokemane's not here to defend herself. She's a big, powerful streamer on Twitch. So much like everyone else, we have to fall in line, and there's certain topics we can't talk about. I understand that. That's fine. No, that's exactly what is happening, though, Austin. It's fine.
No,
of course it is.
Defend yourself when you're just ruthlessly bullied. Like,
this isn't bullying. This isn't bullying. Bullying is when people are messaging her abusive messages. A guy making a video and saying her content is bad because of X, Y, and Z, that isn't bullying. It cannot be bullying.
Wait, I don't think anyone is. Wait.
It is bullying when you purposely paint a wrong picture, like using her community to make it look like something happened. Like, oh, this guy sold his house when it was clearly a joke, and he on purpose did that. That is bullying. He's only reasoning.
He did a follow-up video saying sorry for being an idiot. I made a fool of myself by.
There you go. He was an idiot, and before he did that, that's what Pokey pointed out. Hey, you're an idiot. That's not true.
That wasn't the video she watched, actually. I don't think it was the Simps video. That was a follow-up video, because what people have realized, and this is another reason why you should never take your platform and sort of highlight these people and give them your audience. They've realized Pokemane is a word that's going, they put it in their analytics and people will click on the videos, and Leafy knows that now, and he knows that now, but it still isn't bullying. Like if he made a video every day, why I don't like Pokemane's content or why I don't like Pokemane's community, this is within the parameters of valid critique that we are all subject to as content creators and personalities.
It's important to preserve that distinction. I mean, I haven't seen this guy's video, but like, for example, what Richard just did with, I think, a lot of criticism or critique. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. You got to be able to draw that distinction.
As long as there's misinformation, that's not valid anymore. As long as it involves misinformation. And
misinformation needs to be corrected, and he did that. I'm not defending the guy. I don't know the guy.
Especially when you know
you can only correct misinformation after the fact.
Especially when you know. Well, there are measures that you can take 100%. Especially when you know that the content that you're probably creating is going to draw a lot of attention, and that's probably why you're doing it, right? Because ultimately, I don't even understand why someone would go through the effort. Like, I get why people make videos criticizing me. I totally understand that. I'm a very polarizing figure. And that's totally reasonable and justified that people are like, fuck you, you're wrong, whatever. I even have big content creators that make YouTube videos misdirecting and misinforming people about things that I may or may not have done. And it's a big click driver. It's drama. It's whatever. And I don't think that they should be deplatformed. But I also totally understand why someone would be frustrated and even voice their concern with a person who is purposely spreading misinformation. Right. And I think that in order to combat that kind of misinformation, if a person decides to say, I mean, this is fucking bullshit. Like, how is this person making money? If this brand ever came to me, I wouldn't want to work with them. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to say. Like,
no, but I don't think there's anything wrong with her saying that either. I think that's well within the realm of her critique of him, right? Why would this particular brand want to partner with him? But what you have to understand is again, it's that word, or the optics of that. She completely lost that exchange in the court of public opinion, because you got to know your audience. You got to know what people think about in general, cancel culture, people going after the audience and everything. And so she created an issue that should have been a non-issue. She should have simply saw that the video existed, gone, okay, guess I'm popular and someone's criticizing me on the internet again, and then gone to her stream and made tens of thousands of dollars a day and simply enjoyed having the benefits of living that kind of lifestyle. Instead, what she did is she played that video, she called out his sponsor, and to the average person in the court of public opinion, that looked like a big, powerful content creator attacking a smaller content creator, and It's a Gundam played that fucking fiddle, used that to his advantage, and blew up on YouTube because of it. She actually made the monster she's railing against.
It does seem like, from a practical perspective, when you're dealing with people who just want to roll in the dirt, I mean, there's no advantage to jumping in there with them,
Yeah, that's like when people tweet out. It's like people tweet out and hey, if you've heard something bad, it's not true. And then nobody had ever heard of it until they tweeted about it. It's like,
and it's interesting too that Richard mentioned the Streisand effect. I don't, if you haven't heard that, Barbara Streisand's house was put out on the internet. Prior to her complaining about this, only 6 people had found this information, 2 of whom were her attorneys. Afterward, thousands of people suddenly knew where she lived, what her house looked like, all of that. So, I mean, it is good advice, you know?
Charlie, you come from the YouTube scene. I want you to weigh in here on anything that anybody has ever said. And you seem to be perhaps your more personal connection to what's going on just from the YouTube side of things. Do you have anything to weigh in on what Richard or anybody else has said?
Well, I mean, it's not really YouTube specific, right? It's more like individual based. Whether you perceive something as bullying or valid criticism, that has nothing to do with being a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer. So, I mean, for me personally, if someone makes a video saying, Charlie's fucking short, looks like a hobgoblin or whatever, I'll be like, you know what? That fucking hurts. But you can say that. I'm not going to be all butthurt about it or whatever. But not everyone has to react that way. You can absolutely get upset if someone's calling you ugly, this and that. I mean, I get it. It's an individual thing. As far as like the platforms go and like the reacting thing we touched on earlier, from people that don't watch Twitch streams and go to just chatting, either to jerk off or watch reacting or whatever, they're going to watch these clips out of context where they're just seeing a Twitch streamer watching a whole video as a highlight on YouTube. And during one of these videos, like using XQC as an example, I love XQC's content, but I watch it. But people that don't might see him reacting to a video that's highlighted on his YouTube channel, and that's an 8-minute video, and he maybe says 15 words. Yeah. So that's the perspective they get of people that watch content on Twitch. They think they're just capitalizing off of the content on YouTube instead of like their personality they interject into it. And that's one cherry-picked video that he may have not reacted to that much because he either wasn't feeling it or just didn't have a whole lot to add. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it, but it is what it is.
I just don't get it because unless you come on with a prepared like monologue, it seems like everything you're doing as a streamer is in a sense reacting. Like whether you're reacting to your chat, whether you're playing a game and in the context reacting to that, or reacting to a video. Like that just seems to be kind of the nature of the beast, unless you do like, for example, Vosh, you come on and give a monologue or whatever. Most people don't do that though. I mean, it's usually some form of reacting.
Everybody
I mean, that's just the nature of the stream.
Everybody on Twitch reacts, and then I take all the reactors, and then I react to them on my stream.
Yeah. I think there is like kind of something to be said for at least trying to elevate the content. Like for example, when Critical reacts to the World Slapping Championship, he does commentary over the top. There is a transformative element to it. When you see a lot of people, unfortunately, the reason reaction content has got such a bad reputation is there are so many people who just sit there eating fucking popcorn and they think that's going to be sufficient to be transformative or entertaining, and of course it actually
does that like really wrong about it though? What's really wrong about it?
Well,
I didn't say there's anything wrong about it. I explained why it had a bad reputation.
There's like no fair use argument there if you're just sitting there streaming somebody else's stuff. I mean, then you're basically profiting off of their work and providing no transformative value. It's I mean, you may
to weigh in is
video you haven't. It's like playing a movie you haven't purchased.
Right? Like John Oliver is reaction content, right? He takes a clip, he does something, he does a funny joke about it. Sure, it's pre-scripted, but you're watching someone else's content, and then you're elevating.
There's a lot more production that goes into it, though. Ultimately, like everything is technically derivative. Obviously, all art is derivative. But having said that, there's a difference between just straight up playing a YouTube video and not saying anything over it. I think we all understand that. Having said that, though, even in the case of Pokimane, to be like, oh, she's just eating in front of this video while this video plays, like fucking react harder. My point originally was to say you can find that about virtually every single fucking content creator on this platform, like myself included. There are periods in time when I'm not even on camera where I'm still watching the fucking video and literally run back because I'm peeing or some shit. Run back and pause it so I can talk over it. Now, obviously, I'm also uniquely known as the pause champion, and people get really fucking annoyed with how much I pause just to butt in. But
that's the point.
Their own, like each their fucking own, and it's very easy, like I said, to just show someone is not reacting hard enough on a video. Ultimately, it just comes across
that
like
women definitely get outfiled on it hardest. It's like if I'm gonna take a video of a guy eating, I bet I can find a lot of guys eating salad watching a video. But no, woman is the one that's gonna get dogpiled on it, you know? Because everyone gonna see a guy eating a salad and they're gonna be justified. Oh, he's probably doing something. Like there's gonna be a reason why he's popular. But only reason like a woman's popularity, at least on Twitch platform, I'm not gonna talk about anything else, gets accredited to their looks. I'm not denying that looks, of course, it plays a role, but to completely disregard everything else. It's just blatant sexism.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Hassan's mostly the looks because the takes are so terrible.
I mean, you're not alone in that feeling, brother.
I mean, they call my audience Coomer Crew.
We
so.
do need to make an elimination, which we're gonna administer a poll into the chat. 2 people are leaving right here. One of them is Charlie. Charlie will be one of the people leaving. That's still correct, right? You hard out at 8 p.m.
I'll have to head out within like the next 10-15 minutes.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could stay here for the next 10-15.
Stick around for the next round.
You will be the person that's gone after this. After you need to depart, right? And that's what you said, right? Unless you say a different thing.
No.
We are voting, chat, for who you want to keep, not kick. 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 Keep.
Glad you like my slapping shit, Richard.
Keep, not kick.
But it's not just that. I think actually there's a lot of content where you like pass like commentary and stuff, and I think you're a good example of like when it is a reaction video. I think you're a good example of
keep not kick.
Somebody puts thought into their content. You know.
Keep not kick.
I appreciate that.
I loved your song 2019 Guy as well. I thought.
Oh my man, you trying to like get me on a date or something? All this flirting, bro. Thank you.
It's if you like overweight balding men, hit me up.
Amen, bro.
That's too good. Good stuff.
All right. Keep, not kick. Hassan, I saw you malding about this earlier, and I want to join you in your mauld. Doesn't it piss you off when you start your stream and like 30 seconds in, maybe you have a few thousand viewers, and people are like, "Oh, 3K Andy." Like they gotcha in the 30 seconds. Thousands of people join in, but they get you in that moment. Doesn't that piss you off more than anything?
I mean, it does, and usually I don't even address it, but this one was unique because he was like, how does this guy have 17,000 subs but only 7,000 people watching it? And I'm like, I'm 20 minutes into my fucking, like I'm 20 minutes in, and we're literally like 5 minutes after the intro, and there's 7,000 people, and he's like, this is ridiculous. Like, because he was implying some like wrongdoing or something that was.
When we hit the peak show, whatever, I think we 70-some thousand, whatever it was for that Lover Host show. I had people in. The show was going. I think we hit 20,000 viewers within just like maybe 10 minutes or whatnot, and they were coming in saying 20K Andy at that time. I just get so fucking pissed.
You can't actually be letting that get to you.
Oh, it does. It gets to me.
Oh my God! You're on top of everything else. You're like the only person
who can regularly stream and get 20K
people.
The 20K does.
Yeah, no. Admitting that is also worse because then they're gonna fucking do the like exact opposite, where they're gonna like immediately hammer that on.
70K Andy, bro.
Now they're doing it. 29K Andy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. I would perma, like, especially when I'm gaming.
Yeah.
Like my audience has, contrary to people's opinions of me, I peak or I have the most viewers when I'm talking about political commentary, and I have the least viewers when I'm playing video games. So it almost halves nearly, and everyone always is like hitting pee-pee poofs and fucking 8K Andy incoming, and I would just ban them.
This is the thing is this is why I could never be president, because I can't.
90 days not my
Twitch
peak.
Chat.
No, I completely support this level of dictatorship.
What?
I don't think so. If I had like that many views, I'd like just ban them.
Ellie Moon, you want a benevolent dictator? Is that something that you?
Yes,
dictatorship of the proletariat?
Right. I vouch myself as a benevolent dictator. I can promise people that I'll have your safety and security as my utmost priority.
What would be your main mission, your goal? What would you want for your people?
To listen to me, because
All right.
You got good things to say. Why you got to force the issue, right?
Mr.
I don't trust majority. At some point, majority voted for Hitler to get in power too.
Whoa!
Not quite. It was a broken parliamentary system, but
Yeah,
I get you.
Definitely a little bit. I don't know if there was really much democracy that went on there.
Hitler's image has kind of been reformed. He's now more of like a hentai figure.
Well, let's not go down that road. Okay, let's move into the poll. Critical, you've won the poll. Congratulations. Well, Hassan has won, but by default of the structure of the show, Hassan is not allowed to choose twice. So you have defaulted to the choice, and you must choose between Lecture Fan and Suspect Sushi. No, that's not the right poll. You must choose between Ellie Moon. Oh my God, Ellie Moon and Bastion are it's a dead heat. It is a dead heat between Bastion and Ellie Moon. But I must freeze the poll right here, because if everybody's going to go in and vote for one of those two people, which means that they're going to be elevated to the top. So I've saved the poll. The poll is closed. The poll is closed.
There's literally one vote.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw you at 909.
Yeah, it was 909, 908. That's insane.
Yeah,
Holy moly.
So
if you ever think your vote doesn't matter, this election
it matters.
We're gonna have a second poll that's going to determine who's in the bottom three. Who you want to keep on the show? Who do you want to keep on the show? It's between Bastiat and Ellie Moon.
The vote didn't matter.
The person with the least amount of votes will be into the bottom two. Excuse me. Who do you want to keep on the show?
Who's choosing?
The chat.
The chat.
The chat. Oh.
Chat.
But just in case you work on the Shark Tank pitch.
What matters? People vote.
Okay, so Ellie Moon, you are in the bottom two. It is you and Lecture Fan. One of you is getting eliminated from the show. Charlie, you must make the decision.
Okay. Give me your Shark Tank pitch, Ellie. What have you got?
Oh, wait. Can you tell me again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Shark Tank was a bad reference. What should you say?
What would I like? No, just repeat the question all over again. I was
the Shark
looking at
Tank
my
question.
people in the chat.
Why should you stay on the show?
Oh, why I should stay on the
just pitch
show?
me.
It's because I'm passionate, and I may not have especially about American politics, I may not have the best knowledge, and I will always say I'm not gonna talk out of my ass if I'm not aware of something. I'm gonna say, but I'm very passionate about lots of social issues, and I would like people to know me more than a cute uwu girl. I want to be known as a cute uwu girl with opinions.
LCR, what do you got for me?
I'd say I'm the only one left on this panel that has takes based in reality and facts, so wouldn't get rid of me.
All right, how about this then? We'll switch it around. That makes it tough. Give me some like WWE shit, like scare Ellie Moon away, and then Ellie Moon, you'll do the same to LCR, and I'll see who was like better. If you've ever seen the WWE.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I've never seen it, but I'm just gonna go. LCR, you're literally just here for the memes.
What's that?
Like your takes. I honestly have to question that. Are you a caricature or is that for real? And if the only reason you're gonna stay here is literally just for the memes.
Okay, well that literally just goes to show how disconnected you are from average Americans, and you have no idea how Americans feel because literally a good half of the country feels exactly like I feel. So thank you.
On this one.
Yeah, so quit acting. I mean, you shouldn't act so surprised when 50% of Americans agree with me. So maybe get a little bit better understanding of how people feel around the world.
Thank God that 50% number is just completely false.
Face Ellie Moon.
All right, it's not good enough. I need more.
Okay, all right, here we go. The time is.
SmackDown versus Raw style. Get in there again, Ellie. Hit him some more.
I don't know. That was pretty intense.
I want to hear more.
That was pretty intense already.
All right, Ellie, hit him.
I don't want to hit him
again.
anymore. I hit him so hard. I kind of feel bad. I'm trying to keep a wholesome image over
You didn't hit me that hard. You just repeated the same stupid line that a bunch of other people have said, which is patently false.
Look, I'm not really getting offended because I don't get offended at dogs barking.
Take that. Scare her. Tell her about WrestleMania coming up.
Well, I'm gonna retain my self-respect and dignity, so I'm not gonna respond to that.
That's the one way to say you give up, but all right.
Well, I appreciate you playing my little game. I've made my decision now, and I want to make it clear right away. No hard feelings with anyone involved. This is all just for fun. This decision was made purely based off of those intimidation tactics. So I'm gonna have to go with Ellie Moon. She really went wild on those LCR. I really would have expected more from you. The gloves needed to come off. I needed raw and no rubber here, and you just didn't bring that fire.
Lecture Fan has
You're knocking him off because he was too much the gentleman.
Too much of a gentleman, man. Nice guys don't win.
You have been eliminated from the show, Lecture Fan. Thank you so much for joining us. It's the end of the road. Go ahead and shout out your channel.
Well, thank you so much, Austin. If you guys want to come check out my channel, it's LCTR Fan. Every single social media, it's the same. Lecture Fan, LCTR Fan. I'm a practicing attorney. I've traveled over 23 countries. I'm the only person on Twitch that makes any sense whatsoever, so come check the stream out.
When's Bible study?
Thank you so much, Austin. Bible studies Wednesday night. We're going through Joshua
All
right
hold
now.
on. Wait just a second. Lecture Fan, after my, you can catch Bible study after my all-gay lover host show. We'll host you right after with a very homoerotic crowd.
There you go.
Okay, all right, Lecture Fan. Always a pleasure to have you on. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, good to see you again, buddy.
All right.
Yeah, thanks everybody. See you guys.
Bye.
Take care, man.
All right. Congratulations again to everybody that's made it this far. We need to talk about one thing we have not spoke about is Dr. Disrespect topic that we need to cover. And I'd love to cover it here. Huh?
He's really hot.
Oh, yeah. So Dr. Disrespect is back to live streaming, but details about his mysterious Twitch ban are still unknown. This Thursday, Doc went live on YouTube for the first time with only an animated background and some radio bits, amassing hundreds of thousands of viewers before announcing his return to stream on Friday, which reached over 500,000 views. Addressing the ban during Friday's stream, he said he has no idea why Twitch banned him and that he cannot think of anything he would have done to have warranted the ban, and that he is going to let the legal professionals do what they need to do. That's it. So my question to you is, and I don't want to get into this whole speculative nonsense, right? I just want to get into the do you believe that Doc actually doesn't know why he's banned without getting into...
He absolutely knows.
Okay.
I think he absolutely knows. Yes.
I'll play devil's advocate. He did know, but he bought too much Shungite and it's erased his memory like a Men in Black sterilizer.
Well, if you're in a legal situation like that, especially depending on if it's something involving perhaps another streaming platform, maybe something that is a question of like what knowledge he might have had or what he might have been planning at the time, his response absolutely makes sense. Avoiding any impact on existing litigation while still trying to do your job. So,
do you think there's a chance Richard? You're a journalist, right? You, I don't know to what depths have you?
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Well, actually, because I'm conscious about Charlie needing to leave. Do you want to just get an in-depth opinion from him
Charlie,
first?
you just let us know when you need to go, and we'll let you go.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'll make sure to cut everyone off as I've been doing all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah. So obviously, I was on top of this story like any journalist wanted to be. This was like the fucking chum in the water, right? Every two-bit piece of shit journalist wanted to break this one, and it was really it was really weird because what happened very quickly after it happened was I was flooded with people who absolutely knew. They definitely knew, and and some of these were reliable sources that had given me stories before, and they were telling me things, and then they would quickly contradict. You know, the sources were all contradicting. It was very bizarre. It almost looked like there was some sort of like campaign of disinformation being fed by Twitch to people in that streaming sphere, and I heard so many different stories on the day it happened. I wasn't comfortable. Putting what I'd heard down. It just wasn't. It didn't meet the ethical standards to publish.
I mean, that was the meme of the day, right?
Yeah, and Rod, I was hoping he was going to be here for this topic. Slasher got a lot of shit for his tweet, and basically, Slasher doesn't. Slasher very rarely writes reports. He doesn't do videos. He basically tweets. He's a Twitter journalist, essentially. That's why he's blown up in popularity lately. I don't think there was anything wrong with what he tweeted. Just he simply said, "I am aware. I can't say," and I'll explain why he didn't. Because when you're a journalist, you want to insulate yourself from legal action for defamation. Which in America, absolute truth is a defense, but it's a bit more complicated than that. You still want to protect yourself from being in a lawsuit. I've been in a few. They're not pleasant. And to do that, you go to a publication. And the masthead, as they say, protects you. So I don't think Rod did anything wrong. He does look for clout, obviously. I mean, of course he does. That's been Rod's shtick for as long as I've known him. I don't think it makes him a bad journalist or a bad person. So he got a lot of shit. But just on the point about the doc knowing, I think he absolutely does. And I say that as someone who really likes the doc. And I think it's there reading between the lines. He says, I don't know. And then he says, but I can't talk about it because lawyers might get involved and it's a big contract, but I don't know. But lawyers are involved. It's like he wants to tell, but it just would be very stupid for him to do so.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right.
I'm pretty sure Melina knows why Dr. Disrespect was banned, but then everybody just copied her tweet and started memeing about it. So we should ask Melina,
Well, how do you guys feel about how he structured his return? Do you like it, or?
I haven't even known why he was banned, so I don't know how to feel.
Who's not impressed by just showing up after a month and then 500,000 people watching you live on the internet? I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Well, the controversy itself drew a lot of the clicks, so we'll see what percentage of that he maintains in the upcoming streams that he does. It'll probably still be a not insignificant amount of people that watch him because they want to know what's going on, and then ultimately it will readjust. But Dr. Disrespect has always been an entertaining figure. I think that's precisely why he was regarded as the face of Twitch at one point. And he does put a lot of effort into his content. That's definitely something I've always respected and admired about him. So we'll see what happens as far as his viewership goes. As far as his return stream, yeah, he did a really good job. He did the double Dutch. He did not even reveal that he was about to stream until later with a cryptic Instagram post, and then his return stream was actually to advertise his real return stream, which I've never seen before, and I thought that was really good.
Do you think it would have been more effective had he just announced it on Twitter and then returned, or done this thing?
No, this is more effective, I think. And that's why you saw 400,000 people waiting originally in his waiting room, and then 510,000 at its peak when his actual return stream happened. So he's very good at marketing, and I think that he also has a lot of legitimate institutions that are still backing him at this point, including CAA, as Slasher has also pointed out. Now, that is conflicting with the way that Twitch took action, so it's still very confusing to me when I look at the situation, because if Twitch and Discord were to take such immediate action in a way that really raised a lot of alarms and caused people to suspect something really terrible, especially given the timeliness of the ban, for CAA not to drop him, that is very confusing to me.
That's part of the strategy that's going on, though. I've been told by sources that I definitely trust to have some insight into this, that, Facebook and YouTube, because of what supposedly happened over at Twitch and all these companies talk, they don't want to offer him a partnership. So what he's doing is, by live streaming, is essentially showing that, listen, everything's fine, I can still stream if I want to, but he's losing money hand over fist by doing these types of streams without getting paid to retain it or work for the platform directly. I think it's more about what he was going to do next anyway, because if you remember, he was in talks for a TV series. I don't even know what's happened with that. In light of these allegations, but
knowing what I know about CAA, I know, and I've been represented by them in the past, and now I'm with WME, but they would 100% drop him if the TV contract also fell apart. That doesn't mean that the TV contract did not fall apart, but it would be very surprising to me if CAA didn't drop him after the Twitch contract fell apart, and then on top of that, the TV contract, and any sort of if there was definitely no future money to be made for a company like CAA, they would not have any interest in keeping Dr. Disrespect on out of the kindness of their hearts or something like that.
Okay. Do you guys not find anything spooky about like the fact that a big streamer can just get banned like that so relatively quietly? I mean, that's got to be spooky to you and to you too, Austin, right?
No, absolutely.
I hope that everything is a part of a movie or something. That would be really nice. Hopefully.
No,
Well,
sorry.
ahead,
No. I was just going to add. I mean, you know, we still don't even know what's happened. As I said, I've been told like 4 or 5 different stories. And because it's Twitch policy, they don't make public statements about these things. There's no clarity. We never really know. But I cannot believe for a second that with one of their biggest partners on the platform, they haven't explicitly communicated why this has happened. I certainly think that level of partner gets a much different treatment to the average Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap up this topic, and we need to do another poll. Charlie? Should I include you in this poll?
No. I think everyone here is safe because I do need to skedaddle here in a second.
Okay. Well, yeah. So everybody is out of the poll. Charlie's not in this poll because he has eliminated himself because he must go, which is it's been totally planned. Chat, vote for who you want to keep, not kick. Keep, not kick.
So like two people are living? But let me quickly say something about Doug.
Keep, not kick. Go ahead.
Good for him. I bet like he's gonna come back even stronger. I remember that thing when Tyler 1 was consistently banned from playing League of Legends. Like that kind of things in the end will benefit so much more than whatever he lost in this time of absence.
No, it's crazy. Speaking of League of Legends,
root for the underdog.
Isn't that like owned by Tencent, the same company that owns TikTok? That also like is League of Legends unironically at risk of being banned as well?
No, that was another. People can't read properly. The executive order doesn't cover all Tencent transactions.
It says, I mean, it does say Tencent.
And but as it pertains to WeChat or whatever it was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's specifically
Are you
worded in the.
implying that Bastiat can't read, Richard?
No, absolutely not. I think he's an incredibly intellectual.
I think that's what
guy.
You're trying to stir drama up where it does not exist.
No.
I respect what you're doing, though. You are doing what the market demands, and that's why we're all here.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people made this mistake. It blew up and trended on Twitter for like a day, and it has no factual substance to it whatsoever.
I like the memes. I definitely participated in them exclusively because I do have a hate boner for League of Legends and mobile games in general, so I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But it does seem ridiculous.
Oh, it would have been hilarious if it was real.
The vote is in.
I don't disagree.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, the next person to use their Twitch Prime subscription, Hassan.
What's up?
You have won the round. You must choose between Bastiat and Melina. You must eliminate one of them. They are in the bottom 2.
Okay, this is definitely a difficult choice for me. This is probably vote splitting between DGG. I would even go so far as to say. But as much as I like Melina, and I have no problems with Bastiat either. I actually like Bastiat as well. I'm afraid I'm going to have to keep Bastiat on because he is going to own me in the marketplace of ideas like last time, probably. So we'll have more content there rather than like petty fucking misdirections. No free clout.
Now let's.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Wait, was that towards me? What do you mean by that?
Hassan, you can't just leave now.
Hello, Hassan.
You can't leave, Hassan. You can't do that. You can't leave.
Here's the thing. I love Hassan, but like whenever you use like point out like 3 words of something that combines something that might be a little bit Jewish, he gets very, very triggered. And I don't mean to do that. That's not very nice. But
Melina,
yeah, I'm still curious though. I'm still curious. The things that
is communism based now? It just saved me here on this stream. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Jesus
based.
Christ! Holy moly! I don't even know what to say here. I don't want your pity, but I do appreciate your kind words. So
Melina, you're always a pleasure to have on the show. You deserve your own lover host. You deserve your own lover host. Melina needs her.
Wow, that's very nice.
Yes, Melina you need your own lover host. It's in the pipeline, the Austin Show pipeline lover host. If you're interested in finding love on the Austin Show,
great.
it's very common to find love. Melina, thank you so much for coming. Please, whenever you're ready, I'd love for you to shout out your channel.
Yes, twitch.tv/Melina. Yes, I do a bunch of IRL and stuff like that. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Melina. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, Melina.
Nice to see you, Melina.
All right, that's Melina and Charlie. I'm guessing this is where we say goodbye to you.
Yep, I'm gonna have to head out. I appreciate you having me on, man. This was a good time.
Absolutely, yes. And again,
just before you go, Charlie, I'm thank you for accepting my apology for how I behaved last time we did a show together. I'm honestly appalled. I wasn't myself. I know I ruined the fucking show, and I think you're a fucking really good content creator and stuff, and I was just a fucking asshole, and there's no excuse. So thank you for accepting that apology. It means a lot to me.
No, I think you're a great guy, man. I think you're too hard on yourself for what happened. It's totally understandable.
Thanks a lot for saying that, brother.
That's good.
Good to meet you, Charlie.
Charlie, again, just next time, just don't interrupt so many people. It's really distracting.
I'm just an opinionated guy. I couldn't help but just fucking fight over people to get in there.
I know. Vicious.
Really frustrated
All
me.
right, man.
too.
Follow him at twitch.tv/moistcritical. And where else? YouTube? Moist Critical on YouTube.
I make a lot of shit. A lot of
Moist
different
Critical on
places.
Twitter, TikTok, Vine. All right. Take care, Charlie.
Yep. Take it easy, everyone. Thanks again.
Take care, bro.
Bye, Charlie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this next round will be another double elimination because we have gone way over time on today's show, presented by Dream, ! Dream. So the topic that we are going to move into that we haven't yet covered, there's only one more that we haven't yet covered today. Oh, God, what is it? There's so many. This is the part of the stream where we run out of topics. We have the Blizzard, let's see.
That's a good one.
Do you like the Blizzard topic?
It's about the payments, right? Them publishing.
Yeah, so it's about So employees of Blizzard Entertainment, the developer of popular games like World of Warcraft and Overwatch, began sharing salaries in an anonymous spreadsheet, and it was revealed that pay increases were not what they expected. Meanwhile, CEO Bobby Kotick made $30 million last year. Blizzard employees have described struggling to make rent, and many long-term employees of Blizzard claim that they are making less than they were with Blizzard a decade ago. Do you think that CEOs deserve this level of compensation while their employees receive obviously far, far less?
First of all, I wish every company was obligated to release what salary is being paid out, because if there's nothing to hide, they make you feel like you're being compensated properly, so the culture encourages you, keep your salary secret, don't talk about it, because it's it's to make you believe that you're actually having a good salary. You don't want to make others jealous, but things like that actually show the real picture. And I think it's a really good thing that all of that information came out, because public needs to know where money.
Public need to know how much the CEO of a video game company makes.
Because people are being taken advantage of.
Basti,
the workers
do you disagree? It seems like
I absolutely do disagree. I don't think it's the look. This is a competitive industry. All right. Obviously, I think the CEO is probably thoroughly overpaid. Especially with some of the, some of what, Blizzard doesn't seem to be the company it used to be. But nevertheless, I mean, if they are paying him that much, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their own heart. The board of directors, presumably they're doing it because they think there's some value to it. If there's no value to it, then, he'll be gone. But look, I mean, as far as the disparity in pay goes, as much as it's interesting, I don't think it's actually the public's business. And, if folks don't like it, they should, switch around to other jobs or whatever. Now, I recognize it's much harder now, given the COVID-19 and all that, but
right. You can't.
Okay. Can I come in here really quickly?
Yes, please.
So while the shareholders or a company's board of directors and their chief executives have a fiduciary responsibility to increase shareholder value and to maximize profits as best as they possibly can, I think that there is a separate argument here beyond the exploitation of those workers. I think that Richard Lewis also is probably very aware of this, that crunch is a significant problem in these companies. I mean, it literally leads to people being subjected into unhealthy work conditions in a lot of instances to make these products that we consume and love. But the other problem, the other problem that I find deeply frustrating is that this mentality of maximizing profits is also the reason why we literally have the same kind of Call of Duty clone games coming in year over year, and the AAA titles that used to take a lot longer and take a lot more effort to create are no longer feasible for a lot of companies that are specifically focusing on making as much money as they possibly can. So if you hate, Fortnite clones once Fortnite has made itself popular, or if you hate that like you get to see the same fucking Assassin's Creed game over and over again, or even worse than that, if you hate the fact that we don't get enough new IP nowadays and the only thing we're fed is the same fucking Grand Theft Auto, and Rockstar is an incredible company and I love Rockstar, okay? But if you're frustrated that instead of seeing new versions of Grand Theft Auto, that you just keep paying the same fucking keep playing the same fucking game in like different platforms for 7, 8, 9 years, that is so capitalism is solely to blame for that. Now, is there also innovation? Is there also innovation in that situation? Absolutely. There is certainly innovation. More money to that industry has created beautiful projects as well.
To respond.
Yeah, I don't. I first of all, I appreciate that you have taken this from a pragmatic perspective rather than a values perspective, because of course, we know that you yourself are not big on paying the people who create YouTube content for you. That's historically a problem. But beyond that, let's get real here about the argument you're making.
Oh my God.
The argument you're making right now is
Ellie knows my editor. I think she can speak for him better than I could even.
I'm glad to hear that. I would love to be wrong, because I pay my editor a fair wage. I think that's the right way to go about it, to get the good content there.
Yeah.
But I'll say this: if what you're saying is true, then somebody who doesn't like your React content, I guess, should just stop subscribing to you. Because what you're saying here is, if people are getting the products that they want, people subscribe to you because they like what you do, and so you do more of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a bad thing, and it doesn't squish out innovation anyway. For example, think about some of the games that are produced on the edges of those AAA titles that nevertheless succeed anyway. Stardew Valley is one that comes to mind for me, right? That was some guy's passion project that is now turned into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. It's not like any of these other traditional AAA titles, but it is nevertheless a big, great, successful game.
You might be
a copycat game that just capitalizes on nostalgia or like previous popularity or anything. It's just like one game in the sea of like copycat games.
Yeah, you might be right in general, Bastiat, with the principles you're talking about. But when it comes to Activision Blizzard specifically, it's unquestionable that not only do they make inferior products to what they used to make, not only do they prioritize the continuation of a series year after year. There's no need to have a sequel for Call of Duty every year, but it's something they do because they need to meet this fiduciary responsibility to shareholders. They know it's going to sell like hotcakes because gamers aren't the most discerning of consumers, so they just keep pushing it. They've actively shoehorned more predatory consumer practices into the games than they ever used to do.
Yes.
Loot boxes. Not just that though. Go look at the technology they patented. They patented sort of an algorithm that would basically make you have a worse experience. It would match make you against someone who would wreck you in the game. So you would then be like, oh well, I want to get that item. I want to get that gun or whatever. So they are patenting technology that is directly anti-consumer because all they care about is money. And then when you look at the hierarchical structure of the company, how does Bobby Kotick, a man who has got the company embroiled in multiple lawsuits for failing to meet that fiduciary responsibility and is generally a piece of shit to begin with, how does he justify $40 million a year as CEO of Blizzard when he's took the company actively backwards in terms of quality?
Really acknowledge that $40 million is probably quote unquote undeserved, but I don't think this is an issue of who deserves what. I am glad that we don't all get quote unquote what we deserve, in this life. But I'll say this: as far as what you're saying goes, if people don't want all these rehashes, why do they keep buying them? I mean, for example, World of Warcraft Classic, which is a game that I've seen people still play, still talk about getting into. I mean,
because it's better than what they make now. That's why people play Classic.
It's the same principle. It's just rehashes. People want these rehashes.
I may not want them. You may not want them, but we are not the majority. The consumers make this decision. And while there may be something to what you're saying in the sense of companies don't like to take risk in trying new things when they have sure bets, I agree with that. But that doesn't mean that they're doing something wrong. Just, if anything, creates an opening for new companies to take new risks.
Yeah, but that's what's going to happen eventually. Sorry, jump in, Hassan.
Well, that doesn't exactly happen, but you do see a lot of talent flight, and I'm sure, again, Richard can attest to this as well. He's more knowledgeable on the situation, but a lot of people just end up leaving and going to indie creators or making their own independent creations themselves. However, but the resources in that circumstance are still drastically limited in comparison to the behemoth that these massive companies have become by sucking up every other large corporation. And this happens in every industry. And obviously, video gaming is one where we directly see the consequence of that. And what I mean by this is when a independent company starts growing, then another corporation, a much larger corporation like EA, will take over and pick apart, pretty much like eliminating all redundancies, as they say, eliminating a lot of the staff in the process, increasing their market share or increasing their market value, while finding exactly what it is that sold copies and only marginally improving it, really robbing it of the creative juices that it could have. And the smaller that the larger that the industry becomes, it's actually getting smaller and smaller when it comes to who controls that industry. And that's why they have every opportunity to be able to pump out the same kind of garbage over and over again. And consumers don't really have any other alternative. It's not as easy as you say about like consumer choice.
Games are the ultimate luxury product, and there's a lot of them out there. Even though, for example, I'll concede that maybe there are, maybe these large studios have a lot of power. I mean, Steam has this limitless, number of games out there. And what you described, like when I talked about Stardew Valley, for example, that was, it seemed to be the result of the process you just described. Out of something bad, something came good. Harvest Moon used to be a really good type game like that, where you could, do all the stuff that people enjoy in Stardew Valley. It was a lot of fun. And the quality of that series declined.
Let's find a way to wrap up this discussion.
Same with the SimCity games, right? The SimCity games got worse and worse until SimCity 5 had this online-only requirement that was absolute garbage. So what happened? Paradox released Cities Skylines, and now it's blown up. People love this game. It's better than any of the SimCity games before it, even though it came from a much smaller studio, Paradox, which few people maybe have heard. It's such a small studio. Those are the games I play on my stream. So it's really, I think that the problems you guys have highlighted are real, but they create new opportunities for new people to create new works of art.
Hassan, if you're going to respond, make it brief, and Richard and Ellie Moon likewise.
I don't really have a counter to this because I think it'll just be repeating my original point that's the new opportunities do not bear themselves in incredible works of art that everyone enjoys and consumes, as it becomes less heartless. And we see this both in Hollywood, and we're seeing this in the gaming industry now as well. It's a sector that's clearly very profitable, and a lot of corporations that are gigantic get bought out by even larger corporations, and they functionally turn into financial institutions that are exclusively interested in predatory capitalism, purchasing other companies so that they can take over more market share and increase their value. But we suffer as gamers as a consequence.
Guys, we have to wrap it up.
Okay, I'll wrap this up.
Bastien, I'll come back to you last.
Ellie's been trying.
Ellie, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ellie, go ahead.
I wanted to mention, I'm not entirely sure about the terminology, but back to capitalism. It's not like completely useless or anything. Of course, like it does motivate to innovate in a way that people will consume it. It's higher likely that through that, whatever people like, we would hope that it's something better and greater. But let's get back to the payment inequality thing about CEO getting like so much money, whereas workers are reporting that they're being more underpaid than they used to before. Isn't there this thing called two-tier board institution where basically it's like a clear distinction where I don't know how to say, where it monitors the profit part of the whole market, but it also makes sure that the rights of the workers and everything is safe. Does Blizzard have something like that, in system like that? that kind of governance framework.
They're embroiled in lawsuits in 3 different countries for potentially violating workers' rights.
Guys,
Right.
with respect, I really want to wrap this topic.
Yeah, no
so
problem.
If we could
That's
get
fine.
concise
Well,
in
look, I
our
just wanna
responses,
say-
they're really lengthy.
Yeah.
We just need to wrap this
Yeah.
topic and get
Sure.
through.
Last thing I'll say on this is I just, I'm just thinking about this, and there's another small company called, I think, CD Projekt Red out of Poland. So they weren't even an American company. Project Red. They came up with this Witcher game series,
Witcher,
and
right?
like the third one was like Game of the Year. I mean, they're still releasing this game as of October 2019 on Nintendo Switch. Like this Game of the Year. So like these small companies grow up, they take advantage of market openings, and they do what they do best.
Great. Thank you. It's time to vote. The people
CD literally did crunch,
with
but
the
also
2
CD
lowest
is-
amount of voted people will be eliminated from the show.
I feel like we kind of derailed from the original topic.
Well,
though.
I
Like,
think
we
we
went
are.
towards-
CD Projekt Red has a crazy
Capitalism
crunch.
versus-
They're making Cyberpunk, which is great, by the way, but also
It is now time to vote.
they have terrible work conditions. They are literally subsidized by
is
the government, if I'm
now
not mistaken.
time
Well,
to vote.
that's another argument. But
Ladies
if you're
and
talking about
gentlemen,
what's bad for gamers,
You will be
I mean,
voting for who
this
you
company-
want to keep, not kick. The
Calling-
person with the most amount of votes.
Calling a company with over 1,000 employees that is literally
2 lowest
subsidized
amount of
by the
votes will be
It
government.
used to
eliminated.
be
National
small
Arts
before it
Program
became
is-
big because of making great games. So I'm not saying it's small now, but it used to be.
Yeah, I know. I do agree that we should fund the arts, so I don't disagree with that.
And that's the great thing about video games. We don't even need public financing to get great works of art out
You
of
are
this.
voting
industry.
for who you want to
But
keep,
you
not
just
kick.
mentioned public
2
financing
lowest
as
amount of
your
voted people will
example.
be eliminated. 2 lowest amount of voted people will be eliminated. Just hold on, Bastiat and Hassan. It looks like you guys are going to have a lot more time to talk here.
Sorry, I might have missed some stuff. My mom came over. She's making me tendies.
Gimme, chicken.
Breaded or unbreaded?
Non-breaded, of course.
Unbreaded? Grilled tendies?
Yeah, grilled tendies always.
This guy's a fake neat.
A fake neat? I mean,
Yeah, you
technically,
really wants them
Yeah, I
crispy.
mean, I like she moved in for the duration of coronavirus in my apartment, not the other way around, but yeah.
All right, so the poll results are in, and Richard and Ellie Moon, you've been Richard every week. It's like the same place that you get eliminated at. When are you going to go over the hump and win this thing?
I've been in one final, and I think they only put me there to either troll whoever was with me or just me. But it's fine. This is great. It's a hell of a deep run, and
Thank you.
Yeah,
Richard,
it's
you're
good
always a
do
pleasure
show
to
again.
have on. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to be interviewing with you next week or something.
Yeah, we'll get that pre-recorded. Great to meet you, Ellie. Hassan, good to see you looking healthy and well and happy. And Bastiat, always the smartest person on the show, in my opinion. So great to hear your point.
Yeah, he came
Wait.
I agree.
Quick speak. Like I'm like, whoa, buddy.
No. I honestly, I'm not being like sarcastic or an asshole. I know how tough it is when everyone's shouting over each other. It's not
Yeah,
your first
I mean, that's-
language. I think you did great.
Bastiat, English
Yeah.
isn't your first language?
Oh, but I'm talking about Ellie, of course. Anyway, I'm off. Thanks a lot,
Thank you,
guys.
Richard.
You know where to find me. Bye.
Richard Lewis, ladies and gentlemen. Last but not least, to be eliminated, Miss Ellie Moon. Ellie Moon, please go ahead and shout out your channel.
Thank you so much for inviting me and giving me a chance outside of Lover Host. I really appreciate it.
Well, in fairness, Lover Host is the only time I've streamed in the past like 2 months, so there's really not many other opportunities to get on this show. It's either Lover Host or a Tide promotion. Take your pick.
And
It was
I'm
good to meet
very-
you, Ellie, man.
Thank you. It was very great to meet all of you. And what I wanted, in a way, I'm glad I didn't win. I thought I was gonna get disqualified like first or second. I even made a bet I'm gonna post picture of my butt cheek, so I was getting kind of nervous. Like, oh my
What?
god, like what? Nothing. I didn't say this because I didn't want to influence the polls. See, I'm a fair person.
Okay, thank you. It would also be against the terms of service, brutally.
Right.
Okay,
So, yes.
thank you, Ellie Moon. Have a good day. Twitch.tv/Ellie Moon.
Right
All
on.
right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the showdown you've been waiting for. Multi-billionaire Bastiat versus working class advocate Hassan Piker in a final for the ages. I have a question. I don't
If
even
we
know
are,
what to ask you
if
guys.
the two of us are working class, I don't know what the hell that term means.
I have no idea. I mean, I have to think of a question at the top of my head. Well, first of all, we can start off with why should you win the Royale? Let's get started.
Oh, come on. Yeah, let's give us something a little more.
Okay, who cares most about their looks?
Come on, let's give us something.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
Who
like
had
last
the
time we
best-
talked about, like Hassan and I.
Okay,
the
actually,
reason
this
I
actually
like
might be a good question. This might be a good question.
Let's hear it.
Related to the military. I don't know if we're going to have a diverse opinion here. The military stopping from streaming on Twitch, or the legislation as it pertains to the military streaming on Twitch and recruiting from Twitch, whether they should be able to do that or not.
Sure.
Is that a topic that we'd find some disagreement on?
I don't know if we'll disagree. I think that the military recruitment practices are pretty predatory. I understand that it's America's largest jobs program. As a matter of fact, it's the largest jobs program on the planet. Technically, they're the largest hiring body. The Defense Department is. So I know that it hits to the core of American culture, and I have a lot of fans who are veterans. I have a lot of active duty service members who are in my community. I love all of them, but ultimately, I think it's kind of messed up that you're offering offering 12-year-olds a controller with the express purpose of being able to put them down the recruitment pipeline later on to feed them, propaganda, so that they can go back, so they can go and fight a wage a war that they may or may not want to fight or wage. I don't think that that's very ethical, if we're being real.
Well, so let me ask you, what do you find predatory about military recruitment generally?
Military recruitment is like a poverty draft at this point, where they go after poor people on purpose because they offer them upward social mobility. Unfortunately, in this country, I advocate, as you also know, on beefing up our social safety nets, making sure we have a better public education system, making college free, all things that will greatly improve the American labor force, all things that will greatly improve a lot of people's lives, and also healthcare as well. And this is, for a lot of people now, the only way that they can have a shot at going to college, because college is insanely expensive. This is their only shot at potentially getting an education that way, potentially getting healthcare that everyone should have. And I think that that's kind of messed up across the board. But then to hyper target it towards 12-year-olds and also make it seem like war is exactly like Call of Duty to impressionable kids is pretty bad.
Okay, so there are two parts to that.
So, Bastian,
one is
I want you
the
to
gamer part, and the other part is the poverty draft part. The poverty draft notion is patently untrue, and I'm going to drop a link here in the chat. I know it's going a million miles an hour.
I know what you're going to say.
I'll drop to. Okay, well then you can respond to what I'm going to say. 19% of recruits are from people who make less than, or families that make less than $41,000 a year. The middle class is overrepresented. The two groups that are underrepresented in the military are people who make over $87,000 and people who make under $41,000, or families that have that kind of income. So the notion that it's a poverty draft is just not true. The group that is primarily overrepresented in the United States military is Southerners, and there are a lot of complex historical reasons for that. But it's not a poverty draft just because some people who get involved in the military are in poverty, or because some people who get in the military are looking for opportunity. I mean, the military, even if we had all those programs, would still be a good place for people to learn a lot of skills.
Are you ready for my counter?
Let's hear it.
Look, man, I don't wear a fancy suit, and I didn't have as many subs as I do now. I didn't really have as many subs as I do now. I do come from an affluent background, but that wasn't always the case. For extended periods of my, in my early 20s. So let me just tell you this much, brother. The middle class, the numbers that you just mentioned, those people are fucking poor, dog. Like, it's not very easy for them to be able to pay for healthcare. It's not very easy for the middle class to be able to go to college. And I think that a lot of people who are truly coming from middle class backgrounds would probably back me up on this. So to just say that like the American military is not dirt poor and not like living under desolate poverty conditions does not change the reality that college education is insanely fucking expensive, and so is healthcare in this country. When we live in a country where only when 40% of this nation does not have $400 in emergency spending, and the average cancer treatment is $400,000 annually.
But your argument now is that basically it's a poverty trap because Americans actually are living in poverty, which is an argument I guess you can make, but that's just not, that's true to some degree more than usual now because of COVID-19 and the effect of COVID-19. But the notion, for example, that the better life is only open to Americans who join the military, if that were true, then the military would have more recruits. It wouldn't have to go on Twitch, for example. I mean, it'd have a much easier time getting recruits if it was, as you say, basically the only way open to these folks. But that's just not true.
So that comes to my second point.
The United States prior to COVID-19 was mired in this kind of wide-scale poverty you're saying. And by the way, the bit about the fancy
middle class being expensive,
college education being unnecessary, really unnecessary.
College education being expensive is not a new condition. I really look. You're a very smart guy. I really appreciate how great you are at rhetoric. And I do think that you study the subjects that you speak of. So all I will urge you to do in this circumstance is to potentially look at affordability for college in this country without resorting to like really super far right-wing counterpoints like, oh, they could just go to community college, lol, because that reality is still true pre-COVID, and that reality will be even worse post-COVID. Americans have not been able to afford college for a very long time, and this is a very successful way for middle-class people to potentially get some upwards social mobility. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a recruitment practice. As far as the military...
No. There's a very different point there that you were making.
Hold on, let me finish.
You're making a lot of points here.
As far as the military not being able to successfully recruit, you are correct on that as well. And the big reason for that is because most Americans understand fundamentally that the Iraq War wasn't exactly great. The Afghanistan war could potentially even be held up to contention. And that's precisely why, with never-ending 20 years of war at this stage, Americans don't want to sign up for the military because they don't think that they're genuinely out here defending their country. They recognize that the military-industrial complex is specifically a force that feeds the American economy, and with the way that the American economy distributes those profits, it's a wealth accumulation program for the wealthy, pretty much.
No, the idea that the military is just a wealth accumulation project for the wealthy. There may have been something to that back in the age of the banana republics, where occasionally the United States would invade countries specifically on behalf of, like, the United Fruit Company in Central America. But if you're talking about that now, the average American, wealthy or not, unless they are connected to the defense industry very directly, is not profiting from the quote-unquote military-industrial complex. There are some people, for example, local communities that have military bases might be benefiting from the presence of that military base, but to say that the military is like a net wealth generator for this country, or even for wealthy people generally, is just not true. Beyond that, you called the notion of going to community college some kind of alt-right talk point. I mean, and that's just nonsense.
No, I never said alt-right.
First of all, I'll tell you this right now. I wish, as a financial decision...
I never said alt-right. I don't think you're alt-right, Bastiat.
You said it was a right-wing talking point. Either way, all right?
There's a significant different difference between the right-wing and the alt-right. I hope you recognize that as someone who's neoliberal.
Yeah, I got you. And Nazis are certainly worse than right-wing conservatives. I got you. But the point is the same. Going to community college is a sound financial decision for a lot of people. For example, for me, I went to law school. I went to 4 years of university before that. In retrospect, the only thing I got out of that 4-year university education that was a real value over community college was I met my future wife there. But beyond that, it's just a lot of extra money for very little additional value.
Are you mad that I called out your talking point before you addressed it? Because I've heard it so many times from right-wing dipshits.
I was going to address it. You called out a point that doesn't make sense. You're saying community college is a bad investment when it's actually one of America's strengths in the education sector. America has a robust community college sector. And if you want to deny it because I guess community college has some kind of negative association with it, that's your own classism coming through. All right? Yeah. So beyond that, something else to wait. Something else. He made a lot of points.
Let him finish, Hassan.
He's saying that college is I guess the only way to get into college in a sustainable way is to basically join the military, who will pay for it. And indeed, free college is certainly a benefit that you can get through the military, without a doubt. But even with the student loan program, college is still one of the best investments you can make. You're still going to get more out of it than you would without it. So while I agree that it would be great to have some alternatives to the current form of the student loan program in the United States,
The fact is that college is still a great decision for most people, even
I never
with,
said it's not.
even with the student loan
Bastien,
program.
wrap it up.
I never said it's not.
Because
We
you're
are not in
saying that the
disagreement.
student loan program drives people in the military. And the fact is that college is a good investment on its own. People join the military for their own reasons, some of whom actually do join because they believe they are defending freedom and democracy in the world today. But in any event, the military is not some poverty-sucking machine. It is a professional institution that people from all walks of life join. And if you don't believe me, take from the Council for Foreign Relations right there, folks.
Go ahead, Hassan. Respond.
Yeah, the military is a jobs program, and also college is very important. I just wish that, college wasn't so expensive so that people wouldn't need to literally go overseas, get shot at, including the nearly thousands of veterans I've spoken to at this point who talk about how awful it was for them to not even get the necessary medical treatment, barely be able to get the medical treatment that they were promised, and also be subjected to the same market conditions that the rest of the American labor force is subjected to, and then to top it off, get PTSD on top of that. What is the express purpose of the military? I think it's pretty clear. The American people have made that choice. That's precisely why recruitment is getting more and more difficult, and I think that the American military is aware of this. I wish that America's largest jobs program, and I know for a fact that plenty of active duty service members would agree with me on this. I wish that America's largest jobs program was doing a little bit more good and took more care of the active duty service members and also our veterans.
Okay. Bastien, I'll give you time to respond. Bastien, I'll give you time to respond. Let this be your closing statement.
Yeah, look, the military has had increasing trouble recruiting. Again, who knows if COVID-19 has changed this, but prior to that, it had increasing trouble recruiting because the economy was more competitive. Unemployment was lower. And while it is a kind of job program, although of course in practice it's not intended to be one, although you could argue it functions that way in some sense, it has to compete with private employment as well. And that includes attrition from its own forces to people who think they can do better in the private sector with the skills that they've achieved in the military. So, yeah, the military has to recruit because it has to compete with private employment. And this idea that is the institution of last resort, that is just not true.
Wait, I thought it was. I'm sorry. I thought people were joining because they thought that they were protecting and serving, and now you're talking
many
about.
Many people absolutely are, and I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to try and minimize that.
Program that the government has to compete with other private corporations, which is precisely my point.
I'll be clear right here. I think it is an absolute good thing that people join the military to defend America and to defend our allies abroad. Absolutely, the people in the military defending South Korea from invasion by the North, defending Eastern Europe from invasion by Russia, and who would be called upon to defend Taiwan from invasion by the Chinese Communist Party.
Why is it that you mention the number of different conflicts that we've engaged in the past 20 years? And every time we talk about America, every time we talk about what the American military does, you always got to go all the way back to Korea, which is like the last.
Let's go back more recently. Let's go more recently, Hassan. What about the attempted genocide against the Muslims, which was engaged in by the Serbians in 1995? Which the United States and its NATO allies stopped.
You mean the 60 days plus of relentless bombing?
No, the years of presence.
Even the United Nations said was unconstitutional and illegal.
I don't care about what's unconstitutional according to the United Nations. I care about what's right. And what's right under American law. The United Nations is secondary. The UN Charter is secondary.
I don't even have a disagreement as far as
to defend genocide. I don't care. I'm interested.
I don't even have a disagreement in
serving democracy.
I don't even have a disagreement with respect to that conflict requiring military action.
No one argues against Yugoslavia except the Serbs. Who tried to commit the genocide. And the Russians who wanted to defend them.
Can you listen for a second? Yeah, I don't even disagree with you with necessary military intervention in that circumstance. But what America did in that situation was literally above and beyond bombing the fuck out of people. And they still have issues to this day as a consequence of the depleted uranium that they utilized there. So that's silly that you would bring that up. Again, though, we're talking about Iraq and Afghanistan.
And you are not even intervening against genocide.
You are not even referencing Iraq and Afghanistan, even though last time you did that.
Let's talk about Iraq and Afghanistan.
Gentlemen.
Let's talk about it then.
Gentlemen.
I mean, because your humanitarian position apparently to leave Saddam Hussein and the Taliban head choppers in power forever. It's nonsense. For you to try and claim the moral high ground there is ridiculous.
Wait, I'm sorry. Do you think that Iraq is better off now? I don't give a fuck. I hate Saddam Hussein. You think I like Saddam Hussein?
No, but for you to so confidently say, we do not know what history might have otherwise been, but for you to so confidently say, we would have been better off to leave a genocidal maniac in power.
Iraqi people, we wouldn't have only defended the Ministry of Energy.
We saw what happened when we left a man like that in power. We saw what happened when we left al-Assad in power. That's what happened.
If we cared about the safety and sanctity of the Iraqi people, we would not have fucked that country with a fuckload of boots on the ground military warfare and sanctions that have even killed more than 500,000 people. Don't you dare tell me.
That is a dumbest talking point. The notion that they killed more than 500,000 people. That's the point I brought up last time.
You are now advocating for genocide.
You denied that very point when I said sometimes sanctions can kill. You denied it.
Just by the Iraqi invasion with lies. Now that we already know that we know that it was backed exclusively for the interest of American corporations, from Halliburton all the way down to our military-industrial complex. The fact that you would still try to defend this point of view is precisely. It makes you look as dumb as lecture fan when you do this.
Let me give you a clear
argument.
Gentlemen,
listen to me. Listen to me real quick.
The point is not that the Iraq war was waged properly. The point is not that the Iraq war was waged properly. The point is that it is justified to take dictators out of power.
Bastiat. Gentlemen, please. Can we find a place to leave it?
Sure.
And wrap it up.
I think we just found it.
All right, there you go.
All right. The chat's going to be so mad at me because they didn't want it to end. But it has to end at one point, and that's where it's going to. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to vote. You are going to vote for who you want to keep, not kick. This is the final vote of the Royale.
Yeah, I gotta say, I didn't know if that was coming after we spent the entire rest of the podcast agreeing on everything.
I knew that we were going to disagree on American imperialism 100%.
Well, I'll tell you this, Hassan. I know you don't do a lot of debates. I know, given the way the the Austin show, the Royale works, that we end up getting, like this. But if you ever actually want to talk this stuff out long form, some fashion, I would be glad to do it. We've had a lot of talks on my channel. I know you've done them before too, where they're not, they're not so like that. But I mean, I think tonight, if there was anything, we both may have got out of this, is that, we can have some pretty reasonable agreements and disagreements.
I got a question. There's been debate behind the scenes whether you guys would agree or disagree on this, and I think you might disagree on this. I know both of you are voting for Biden, right? But do you think he'll be an effective president?
I think people are not voting for Biden. 65% of Biden voters are voting against Donald Trump. I would even go so far as to say that maybe Bastiat is voting against Donald Trump instead of voting for Biden.
Primarily, Biden was my third choice. I liked Yang, and I liked Pete Buttigieg. But I mean, Joe Biden, I think he'll be pretty effective. I mean, especially if he has a Democratic Congress, which it's looking like he's going to get. If he has that, then I think there's a reasonable chance that he'll be able to do some serious reform. And what I'd really like out of a Biden presidency would be if he could bring some meat back to our institutions. For example, so much of what President Trump has done, he's been able to do because there were no laws against it. There were just norms against it, like when he kept ownership of all his companies. If Biden can do some of that, can bring, bring some meat back to our institutions, I think he'll leave the country better off and he'll be effective. If, on the other hand, you're talking about lefty policies, well, he'll have more trouble with that. But we'll just have to see how it goes. So.
At this stage, I just want a president who's not utilizing federal agencies on exclusively Democratic cities in an effort to win favor, I guess, and restore his rightful position as the law and order candidate. I mean, the fact that he's still holding up aid to unemployed people right now and saying that Democrats are the ones who are holding up the aid right now in Congress is so insane to me. And when you push him further on it, when in fact it's literally the Republicans who are withholding aid at this moment, Democrats have already conceded to $2 trillion. Republicans don't even want that. But the fact that Donald Trump openly states that it's really fucked up that Democrats want to hold the aid because they want more funds for blue states is insane to me.
Yeah,
you're the fucking really president. You are the fucking president. Not only are there a shitload of American citizens who happen to vote Democratic in those states, there are Republicans who vote for you in those fucking states.
Yeah, in California, for example.
Democrats make this take as well. I hate it when Democrats say shit like, oh, fuck the red states, fuck the red states. It's like, what are you talking about? These are your fellow men and women that you're like advocating for what hurt?
Yeah, I'm curious if you've heard this point made by folks on the leftist on this idea that if we get 4 more years of Trump, then it'll be easier for us. And it just reminds me of what the communists in Germany thought in 1932 when they refused to work with the Social Democrats because, you know, some of the historical bad blood between them, but also because Stalin disavowed or refused to, he forced them. Well, no, I mean, with Rosa Luxemburg, but also in 1932, Joseph Stalin specifically said, you cannot work with them, and they followed the Soviet line. Either way, the KPD leader said, after Hitler, our turn. And then a year later, he was in a concentration camp. So
I don't know, man. I feel like the Social Democrats in that situation, this is rewritten for contemporary purposes so hard by both sides to a specific degree. But all I do know is the fact that it's not like they were homies with one another and united. And the communists were the first to get gulagged and the first to get fucking thrown into concentration camps because of their immediate direct action that they were taking against the Nazis at a time when Social Democrats chose to concede certain elements of power, whereas communists were engaging the anti-fascists, the original anti-fascists.
They were refusing to work with the Social Democrats. They called them social fascists. And at 1932, everybody knows what the deal is with the Nazis. So, I mean, to not work with, like, I guess what I'm trying to say here is
the Social Democrats,
idea that we can like just count on
the Nazis.
Right.
Whereas the Social Democrats offered more concessions in that circumstance. I don't even have a problem with Social Democrats. I have a fuckload of Social Democrats, more Social Democrats almost in my community than not. But this notion that the communists were responsible for Nazi seizing power is like a revisionism that I have.
Because of their deal with because they were run by the Soviet Union, they refused to make a deal.
Gentlemen, it's time to wrap it up.
I thought this would be a simple point we might agree on, that we should all work together to stop.
I do think we should all work together, but I also think that Social Democrats in that circumstance were literally fucking killing communists when communists were trying to kill Nazis. So I don't know. I feel like it's very similar to today. I do want unification, except unfortunately it's usually a more conservative element in society that ends up winning.
I'm not saying I want to unite. Like, I'm just saying when it comes to somebody who has a different agenda versus somebody whose agenda involves disenfranchising both of you,
right?
Then you should probably vote to stop who's trying to disenfranchise.
Let's find a place to wrap it up. The winner of the Royale, the first ever Royale presented by Dream, ! Dream is Hassan Parker. Congratulations! 61% of the vote. Congratulations. You have earned a host.
Thank you, Austin.
Bastien, this is the farthest you've ever gotten in the Royale.
Actually, no. The last time, the first time I was on, it was me and Hassan again. Hassan is
you didn't
great.
win, though, did you?
No, but it was a little bit closer.
So